Greetings and welcome to the second ADA Awards. I'm your host, Khalid Malik. It seems like a lifetime ago, certainly a different time when you and I met for the first ADA Awards in Karachi. However, due to circumstances, all of which we're aware of, we have had to adapt and adjust. So here we are, celebrating you and your achievements, albeit virtually. We are delighted to be a part of your journey, and we're delighted that you've decided to be a part of us. We really wanted you here in our host city, Lahore. But in the name of the new normal and in the name of adjusting and adapting, we have decided to bring the awards to you as our growing and continuous commitment to celebrate your achievements and to celebrate your efforts virtually. So let's get started. Before we proceed to the Pakistan National Anthem, just a little footnote. The students of Habib University have come together to bring us this special presentation, especially for you. It is a blend of the emerging and the established as we celebrate the disciplines of art, design, and architecture. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pakistan National Anthem. Thank you, the Center for South Asian Music, Habib University. I still have, I don't know if you're feeling, but I can still feel the goosebumps under my shirt. So thank you for that moving performance. 2019, the first ever ADA Awards, and I smile because I remember being asked to host the first ever ADA Awards, and I thought, this is going to be nice, this is going to be a lot of fun. I remember waiting backstage and waiting for my announcement, or waiting for the announcement so I can actually come on stage, hop on stage. And I remember thinking, okay, we've got the creme de la creme of this multidisciplinary art world, design world, and architecture world. How are they going to receive me? That stage fright, that pumping heart, I can still remember it. Despite some of the peaks and troughs during that night, I had a great night, and I trust that you did too. But what is the ADA all about, and what does it set out to accomplish? Let's have a look. ADA, Architecture, Design, Art, is a magazine for architects, designers, artists, and related professionals practicing in Pakistan. Pakistan's only bi-monthly architecture, design, and art publication, ADA has been in continuous print since 2008. The ADA Awards is an ADA initiative. The awards aim to place Pakistan in the global arena with works aligned towards international recognition and in parallel recognize celebrities of the creative fields that impact lives, inspire generations, and leave a legacy of exceptional works. The only national award from Pakistan, the findings of the ADA Awards winners intend to explore new heroes of our time, tell new stories, advocate for new agendas, frame new questions, and articulate new aesthetics. ADA Awards is an agency of change. It's a cycle of innovation that manifests its ethos by evaluating projects, ventures, and phenomena that lift our spirits. That certainly brought back some memories. I'd like to invite my first guest. She is the founder and editor-in-chief of ADA Magazine, the first female entrepreneur to delve in publication, and it was under her leadership that the ADA Awards were pioneered and initiated, the first of its kind in Pakistan to celebrate the disciplines of art, design and architecture. Currently known as an activist on various fronts, please welcome Maria Aslam.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace be with you. May you be well and safe from whichever part of the world that you have joined in. I welcome you all to the second cycle of the ADA Awards, wherein we will announce the winners in the discipline of Architecture, Design and Art 2020-21. Responding to the current times, we meet in the virtual realm, a domain that was not possible in the last cycle, unheard of, unthought of. Yet it is a reality of today. ADA Awards were conceived in 2013 but were launched in 2018. And yet I feel that we are launching the awards again this cycle. And here we are in this new reality. I miss you all. I feel lonely. I miss the participants, the jury members, the patrons, the chairs who all made this night possible in the last cycle. If only I could go back in time, the frenzy, the fear, the hiccups, the overall misadventures that were the hallmark of the gala night of the inaugural cycle. Together, we made history. Together, it was all possible. Yet again, we do it today in a different world altogether. From the crescendo to the pause, I miss you all. ADA misses you all. The creative industry that came together in establishing the first ever inaugural cycle of the ADA Awards. 2 weeks of juries, the endless hours in the Zoom world, where the jury deliberated and navigated through projects that were actually then picked up as projects of excellence that were agents of change, mindful of the thought that these are the projects and the works that highlight creativity, that are committed to the environment, that make a strong statement and raise the bar of excellence in the design, architecture and art world. Today, we raise the bar of excellence by awarding 26 individuals and works from the 32 categories of ADA Awards 2021 second cycle for their exception in their works and inspiration. What matters is when we collectively come together for a greater cause. We as Pakistanis came together for this particular cycle in a very different world, and we made it. I am super excited to have you all on board in the second cycle of the ADA Awards. Congratulations to all the winners who will be reckoned as winners of the second cycle of the ADA Awards. And many thanks to all our patrons, partners, friends and supporters, without which it would not have been possible. We will meet again to celebrate your win in the only national award from Pakistan in the later part of the year. Put your phone on flight mode, grab your favorite drink and enjoy the show.
All right, it is time to kick off the formal ceremony for the second ADA Awards. Are you ready? This is the first discipline that we celebrate tonight, art. Our first category is installation, and the winner is Aisha Qureshi.
The freshness of the work immediately draws attention to the myriad Karachi skyscape composed of huge steel structures that once housed huge billboards. The curious vista that has been created is a repercussion of the law banning billboards that sprint out from high-rise buildings in this megapolis. The void left in its wake of steel structures and tattered material draws attention to the elusive memory of what it was and now houses the birds and flying debris. The dexterity of the artist is revealed in how he or she experienced a phenomena that is embedded in our everyday experience, and how art amplifies the familiar, identifiable monstrosity as a provocative social connection by the artist is powerful in this work. The important issue of how one act reinvents another causality, resulting in environmental concern, is the narrative of the installation that questions a commercial agenda and its aftermath, both socially and aesthetically. The artist has observed the city's skyscape, and her aesthetic intervention is to transform their presence by bringing them into a gallery space as a video and sound installation is illuminating and questing at the same time. The Awareness Raising Project is a formal exercise that encapsulates an immersive experience in this stimulating work.
Our second category is sculpture, and the winner is Afan Baghpati.
The artist forages for metal objects in bazaars and antique shops with great purpose. These objects become his material as a sculptor. Traditionally, almost all the found objects were in daily domestic use, sometimes for adornment, for religious purposes, and more often for practical purposes. The objects are mostly cast in copper, brass, and sometimes in silver, but are also handmade by the craftsman. In present times, their traditional use being replaced by modern alternatives. The artist is inspired by the possibilities that unfold, and his creative interventions in this particular series, named Dulha or Bridegroom, with the head of a Ken doll fused within selected objects, infuses these sculptures with a quirky undercurrent of humor at one level, but also with a scathing, satirical undercurrent that is a commentary on the social and political culture in our society.
Our next category is drawing, and the winner is Laila Rahman.
Mehtab Se Mulaqatein is innovative in its format and well crafted. The pomegranate is an organic symbol of fertility and abundance, and the inventive use of different circles adds to the work's allure. The artist has connected drawing to symbols effectively with great visual appeal. The drawing is skillfully executed with good contrast of dense drawing and lighter open spaces and feels well resolved.
And now time for our honorable mention in the drawing category. And it goes to Farrukh Adnan.
In this drawing, the artist has used circular forms, creating a mesmerizing and engaging conceptual work. Finally executed, the circular motion of the process is actively visible, as if reflecting the growth of tree rings through time. The success of the piece is in the indirect and impressionistic approach to nature. The whole drawing is an abstract statement of being one with nature, perhaps, and is very deftly executed.
Our next category is fiber art, and the winner is Nisa Saeed Raja.
Una's piece captured the jury's attention for its humour and sheer simplicity of means. The artist's careful, almost casual arrangement of two very ordinary garments demonstrated an agility to work with abstract forms in tandem with conceptual ideas of indeterminacy implied by the title given to it by the artist.
And now for our honorable mention in the fiber art category, Ruby Chishti.
The jury conferred an honorary mention to Sublime Architecture in respect of Ruby Chishti's imaginative repurposing of found fabrics to think about subjects of home and belonging. The jury were very impressed by the unique technique and intricacy of the work, especially for the ways it challenged perceptions of what fiber art is and should be.
Our next category is public art, and the winner is Numaish Karachi.
The jury took the decision to award Sherazad with the Public Art Award by virtue of the number of collaborators it involved. We believed the project extended notions of participation, agency and interaction beyond singular understandings of what the term public art has more commonly been associated with. So rather than recognise an individual, the jury felt the prize should be awarded to recognise each and everyone involved in Sherazad's week-long programme.
And our next category is video art. The winner is Ammar Faiz.
The jury agreed that Ahmed Faiz's single-channel video, Body Body, demonstrated video's potential to document with its capacity to immerse the viewer's attention with such balanced prowess. This seemingly simple work deftly combined layers that interleave ideas of public space, ritual games, and surveillance in a manner that is both subtle yet amazingly compelling.
Our next category is digital art, and the winner is Muhammad Atif Khan.
Atif Khan's work won the attention of the jury for the ways in which it employs the digital to recompose imagery. Carved from the familiar repertoire of truck art and miniature painting motifs around him, Khan's drawing, Seven Skies, seems to bring the never-ending implosion of visual noise to a standstill. With the infiltration of digital technology, especially during this pandemic, his work is a timely reminder of the precarious balance in which we all find ourselves.
For our next category, which is painting, we have an honorable mention, Javed Iqbal Mughal.
Supremacy won honorable mention for its skillful depiction of the subject matter, the expressions of the characters, and innovative use of paint and drawing. What seems like a simple naturalistic depiction is actually inventive, with its infusion of tension, thoughtful structuring of characters, and creative use of light and colors. The painting was able to draw the viewers into the drama created on canvas.
Congratulations to all our winners in the discipline of art. We're ready for our next category, design. Our first category in the discipline of design, identity design. And the winner is Ali Rez.
Jehez Khori Band Karo is a project that approaches problem solving for social impact through communication design practice. The intention of the project is visible, an excellent multi-pronged approach to raise awareness against the debilitating and toxic practice of dowry in Pakistani society. The term Jehez Khori is introduced as written as a Mehndi pattern. The project links Mehndi, henna, as a visual signification of celebration in Pakistan with the term Jehez Khori through a visually beautiful Mehndi pattern, like a henna tattoo, to juxtapose dowry practices as being deliberating. The project links Mehndi, henna, as a visual signification of celebration in Pakistan with the term Jehez Khori through a visually beautiful Mehndi pattern, like a henna tattoo, to juxtapose dowry practices as debilitating and callous. The presentation of this term through the medium of Mehndi, communicated through diverse hands as a communication channel, invites one to raise a voice against Jehez Khori. It is a visual dialogue, a protest, an invitation, a call for a movement filled with cultural connotations, subtexts, and influences. Additionally, the project as a whole is a clear representation of a contextual communications approach. What impresses me the most in this project is its simplicity and depth. A clear, concise message, coining a strong term, introducing a democratic process by invitation for the public to join in. The project communicates that it is not only about the visual aesthetics, it is a systemized strategy to prompt re-evaluation of normalizing dowry practice. This project reminds me of Paul Rand's quote, "Design is so simple, that's why it is so complicated," unquote.
Our next category is fashion design, and the winner is Bushra Waqas Khan.
The fashion entry presents a well-crafted body of work exploring the possibility of application of a theme on various formal and informal ensembles. Thematically, it is not possible to predict whether this is purely designed to indulge the senses or are there serious problem-solving matters at hand. But apparently what we see is what we get. And what we get is a delightful exploration of a theme, a well-defined visual language and its application possibilities. The limits of the color palette are compensated by the expanded envisioning of the theme in multiple textures, draping and silhouettes. The surface design complements the silhouettes in a flattering manner that evokes an invitation for a second look. And it's only then that we appreciate the variety hidden under a minimal demeanor.
Our next category is furniture and light, and the winner is Arshad Shahid Abdullah.
The Mystery of Mystery project is not only a play on words, it invites you freshly to see the mystery of trees. Trees are part of the most mysterious element of nature. They are the most visual representation of life, of color, of air and peace. Mystery Project creates mysteriously a new life to the materials such as scrap metal, boxes and things. Things that provide 4 seasons color, shadow and presence, laying down on their mystery tree, looking at the sky through the turquoise, green and pomegranate red filter color will surely provide fruitful dreams. Mystery Project inspires us to keep thinking and finding more reasons for ourselves to exist. Its strength is also in being an evolutive tree.
Our next category is jewelry design, and the winner, Sundus Talpur.
The entry title Door is a thematically crafted ensemble that pushes the boundaries of traditional jewelry design. The claim that encapsulates fragments of the historic richness of Pakistani textiles is evident in the vocabulary and the physicality of this collection. The project captures the rich heritage of Pakistani handicrafts, textiles, and its craftspeople. The materializing of this richness and strength is reflected in the form through visual fragility of the designs and inherent strength of the medium of gold. Through the medium of jewelry design, the designer has captured imagination and ideas into something tangible and visible. The visual language reflects the concept brilliantly. Delicate, ethereal textures, draping surfaces, and fluid spaces seduce the viewer through aesthetics and impresses with innovation. The social responsive element of being inclusive to the Sindhi craftspeople allows another layer to the project. This project is a visual and tactile success as a complex realization of an outwardly simple yet inherently deep concept.
For our category for jewelry design, we have an honorable mention, Dua Fatima.
Voices endeavors to raise public awareness towards the social issue and plight of acid burn victims. The project represents the issue through a carefully planned body of work of jewelry pieces showing scarring, deformity of skin on precious metal pieces that could be worn on hands as bracelets, neck as chokers, and other ornamentation conventions. One could argue that jewelry's primary purpose is beautification, whereas these pieces derive their main inspiration from ugliness. However, that's where the sophistication of the project stems from. The inherent subversion results in registering an apparent contradiction and a conundrum of sorts, which first of all grabs your attention and raises formal questions of design form and function, and whether ethics should be a concern here. However, in the midst of all these questions, one also realizes where one might have seen such messages before and which mediums were traditionally used to deliver such messages. So herein lies the deal breaker, the sophistication of visual language and the use of jewelry as a carrier of an intense message. The body of work also does not assume that we have not heard or seen about acid burn, and the designer has to teach us all from scratch. Contrary to that, the pieces speak in a multi-meaning mode, impressing upon the mind the fragility of the notions of conventional beauty, challenging our vanities, and at the same time blurs the boundaries between sculpture and jewelry.
For our next category, which is editorial design, honorable mention, Zehra Nawab.
This book delves into the subject of healers, erratics, seekers and believers, believers in the power of Sufi saints and of the Satya. This publication employs what can be assumed as narrative illustration devices that tell or augment the storyline in a simple yet engaging style. The illustration does full justice in crystallizing the spiritual essence of the text. Outwardly, the publication design may appear traditional. However, an excellent melancholic narrative staging is accomplished through simple layouts and minimal illustrations. The cover design, the illustration style, layout design, negative space considerations, and general formatting generates an enigmatic mood. It's a visual journey that supplements the inscribed narrative. It sparks curiosity while evoking a sense of surreal mysticism. The use of muted earth tones, the softness of brush strokes, and surreal imagery generates a haunting feel. The professional finishing choreographs this publication rather than structuring it. It reflects well-designed content from the concept to expression, simple yet elegant, where less is more.
We also have another honorable mention for editorial design, Minhaj Ahmed Rafi.
Pakistani fashionable history draws the eyes and commands attention. An interesting interplay of text, image, and negative space lends this publication a playful nuance. The intention of communicating history of the young Pakistani audience is achieved with styling and employment of graphic elements such as color, text, and image collages. Pop art inspiration is clearly reflected through the interesting colorful collages. If one is pernickety, editorial finishing, disputes such as widows and orphans, kerning issues within the text, choice of imagery for the collages, or negative space design that controls eye movement can be questioned. However, the sheer confidence to tackle a daring approach to editorial design needs commendation. The eclectic visual juxtaposition of design elements strewn across the pages makes one feel the frenetic energy the layout successfully generates. There is not a single dull moment as one travels from one page to the next. The editorial innovation can be defined in Richard Hamilton's words: it's a witty, sexy, gimmicky, and glamorous approach to editorial design.
ADA Awards for the first time introduced a design competition to be more inclusive of the student fraternity. They were asked to design a rostrum for the ADA Awards ceremony. And the winners are Fiza Fatma, Anusha Irfan, Rida Fatma, Sahar Noor, Yamna Asad of Dawood College of Engineering and Technology. The honourable mention goes to Naushaba Khan of Lahore College for Women University.
The jury saw merit in both these designs and was of the opinion that the origami design based on portability and the overall concept was a very practical one and could be used for many future award ceremonies, and much commended. However, the details of the folds of the fabric, which is the main element visible to the audience, required further work. The paper lamp concept is very attractive, especially the graded lighting from bottom to top. The mass of the rostrum seemed bulky and difficult to handle and store. The cuts and folds, if not done with precision, would make the concept realization useless. Commenting on the merits of both, the jury felt that the two shortlisted contestants be given an opportunity to work together to create a piece which marries the concept of portability and the folds of the origami fabric and carries the essence of paper lamp, thus being joint winners. In case of reluctance, the origami one is declared the winner and the paper lamp gets an honorable mention.
Congratulations to all our winners in the discipline of design. Before we move into the final category of architecture, a very special recitation by Muazzam Ali Khan. A recitation that will remind us of the times that we live in. Ladies and gentlemen, Muazzam Ali Khan.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, आदाब। उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब लोग खैरियत से होंगे। आज जो कलाम मैं पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ वो खुसूसी तौर पे ADA अवार्ड्स के दूसरी साइकिल 2020-21 के फातेह करार पाने वाले खुशनसीब तख्लीकी अशखास के लिए है। जो कलाम आज मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ वो फैज़ अहमद फैज़ साहब का है। फैज़ साहब ने ये अगस्त 1952 में 1952 में लिखा था। कहते हैं कि रोशन कहीं बहार के इम्कान हुए तो हैं, रोशन कहीं बहार के इम्कान हुए तो हैं, गुलशन में चाक चंद गरेबा हुए तो हैं। अब भी खिज़ां का राज है लेकिन कहीं कहीं, अब भी खिज़ां का राज है लेकिन कहीं कहीं, गोशे रहे चमन में गज़ल ख्वां हुए तो हैं। ठहरी हुई है शब की स्याही वहीं मगर, ठहरी हुई है शब की स्याही वहीं मगर, कुछ कुछ सहर के रंग पुरफ़शां हुए तो हैं। इनमें लहू जला हो हमारा कि जानो दिल, इनमें लहू जला हो हमारा कि जानो दिल, महफिल में कुछ चराग फरोज़ा हुए तो हैं। हाँ कच करो कला के सब कुछ लुटा के हम, हाँ कच करो कला के सब कुछ लुटा के हम अब बेनियाज़े गर्दिशे दौरां हुए तो हैं। अहले कफस की सुबह चमन में खुलेगी आंख, अहले कफस की सुबह चमन में खुलेगी आंख, बादे सबा से वादा व पैमा हुए तो हैं। है दश्त अब भी दश्त मगर खूने पास फैज, है दश्त अब भी दश्त मगर खूने पास फैज, सैराब चंद खारे मुगीला हुए तो हैं। रोशन कहीं बहार के इम्कां हुए तो हैं, गुलशन में चाक चंद गरेबां हुए तो हैं। अपना बहुत ख्याल रखिएगा, खुश रहिए, सलामत रहिए, आबाद रहिए।
Thank you very much, Muazzam Ali Khan. All right, we move on to our final category, our final discipline, and recognize you in the discipline of architecture. We now move on to our final discipline of architecture and our first category, civic building, and the winner is ARCOM.
The hospital project in Bamyan, Afghanistan is reflective of the culture and the harsh climate and landscape around it. The concept of a compound with extremely thick inner core mud-filled high walls amply reflects the way of life, climate and security considerations that have been considered by the architect. This outer compound has provided all the elements for the functioning of a hospital and gels very well with its surrounding environment. The architects have very intelligently and cleverly used the north and south orientation in their design to cater to hot, dry summer season and ample light sun during the winters. There is a very impressive use of the local flora and fauna in the series of landscape gardens within the compound, providing solace and much needed comfort for the patient. Also, the use of local craft motifs and pattern has contributed in providing a sense of familiar surroundings to the local people using the facility. Thus, it's a very creative and bold attempt in response to the location, function, and its surrounding environment.
Under the category of civic buildings, we have an honorable mention, the Architects Studio Tariq Hassan.
Architects have often faced the perpetual question of how architecture can benefit a community. This project has successfully integrated the new architecture into the fabric of the existing village by inserting a configuration of small buildings that form a living community with an intimate scale. By orienting some of the buildings to capture the breeze, the exterior spaces became as important as the interior spaces. As a result of the building configuration, small courtyards were formed where the children could play outdoor in smaller groups. The project has not only responded to local climatic conditions by reviving traditional passive cooling and heating methods, but it has also succeeded in reducing the budget by using local materials and construction methods, thus empowering the rural community.
For our next category, competition project, and the winner is Shahid Saeed Khan.
The project successfully addresses and synthesizes several topics that are relevant to contemporary architectural discourse. First of all, construction systems are adopted that can be easily taught to the local community, thus empowering it. On the other hand, passive systems from climate control and water recycling are well integrated in the structure, participating in the definition of its architectural form. Also, the flexibility of use is allowed by the compound typology, expanding its life cycle. Finally, the choice of materials, colors, and patterns respect the local culture. Overall, the jury has appreciated the inspired way in which the project balances tradition and innovation.
Our next category of interior project, and the winner is Subtractive.
Mixing a workplace and a living room is basically a very easy job. It can happen by accident or per necessity, without any clever intervention. The same is in the opposite way. You can partly transform and dedicate your living place to your office. But it is not so easy when you have to respect the environment rules, constraints, ergonomics, lights, distances, comfort, privacy, and efficiency. What I found amazingly successful in this UF project is that living becomes so pleasant that calls you to work. Light and air are mostly present everywhere. Sportive activities, nature, plants, color, and furniture's variety. All of these carefully selected elements make you feel hungry, relaxed, and busy. Productivity and peace are joining each other.
Our next category in the discipline of architecture, residence, the winner is the Architect's Studio, Tariq Hassan.
When building on a piece of land in an open countryside location, it is always a challenge not to impose on nature with a massive structure. By adhering to the essentials, the architect manages to create straightforward forms that celebrates natural surroundings. The strategy to separate the house into several masses maintains the scale of the countryside homes in the area. At the same time, the masses break up the expansive site into several intimate gardens that also create a distance when future houses would be built on the neighboring sites. The use of local stone and wood reverberates with the countryside homes, while at the same time using simple modernist features to make it more contemporary.
And now it's time for our honorable mention. In our category, commercial building, honorary mention, Arshad Shahid Abdullah.
This office building stands out unique due to its peculiar narrow width, standing tall among other buildings around it. Exploiting a piece of land to its full advantage is the most clever thing that the architect has achieved. The attractive structure in steel and RCC gives this building the airness and natural light where needed. The use of contemporary materials and the appropriate application is commendable. It has gained respectable position among the very few buildings of its class in one of the busiest commercial area of Lahore.
Our next category is housing project, honorary mention, ARCOP.
Great size and contained budget are usually the Achilles heel of housing development. Such is not the case of this project, where despite the constraints given by the site, which was long and narrow, and construction needs, especially the repetition of blocks, the architects have achieved an urban configuration capable of offering diversity within similar housing types, environmental quality by means of natural elements, identity thanks to the subtle use of vernacular language, character by means of the strategic positioning of special buildings, ventilation via the disposition of the building blocks, and a well-thought balance between private, semi-private, and public spaces.
Our next category, rebirth project, renovation, adaptive reuse, honorary mention, H3 Architects.
Adaptive reuse of some of the original features unique to the vernacular tradition of building in Gilgit-Baltistan, such as the stepped wooden ceiling and the carved pillars of the original structure, suggests a sensitivity towards an awareness of local building techniques and the aesthetic popular in this high mountain region. Thought has gone into planning the compound around a courtyard, which provides a green open space for visitors, staff, and patients. Space behind the complex has been left open for future expansion. The location of the complex upon a plateau overlooking the Indus River was well suited for the establishment of a pumping station to address the water needs of the facility. Considering that the complex is intended to address health needs before a permanent facility is provided, the Gilgit Medical Center merits an honorable mention for its thoughtful and sensitive execution of an adaptive reuse project in a remote mountain region.
Our next category, heritage, conservation, adaptive reuse, honorary mention, Rais Fahim Associates.
Aitchison College has been listed as a special premises under the Punjab Special Premises Preservation Ordinance 1985. The project to conserve the old building has successfully addressed issues of structural stability and the deterioration or weathering of material, including water and termite damage. While major structural issues such as the floors and roofs have been addressed well, this appears to be a project which has gone beyond the remit of conservation. Iconic architectural features, such as the central dome and the four turrets at the corners, have been restored and conserved, including the decorative elements that have decayed or been entirely lost over time. This project merits an honorable mention and can be presented to conservators as an example of successful conservation and restoration with minimum intervention and maximum sensitivity to historical references and the values of heritage management.
Congratulations to all the winners from the category of architecture.
Greetings. I would like to congratulate ADA on successfully completing the ADA Awards despite the challenges that the world has faced in 2020. The Award for Architecture, Design and Art is a commendable initiative that searches and recognizes creative talent across Pakistan. Getz Pharma is proud to be associated with the ADA Awards as their founding sponsor this year. Also look forward to their ceremony later this year.
It is my absolute pleasure and honor to invite my next guest. I had the pleasure of interviewing our next guest last year, and for me it was a dream come true. I often get asked, who do you derive inspiration from as an entertainer and as a host? Anwar Maqsood Saab.
मारिया असलम के कई फ़ोन आए मेरे पास कि आप हमारे इदारे के लिए और जो नए आर्किटेक्ट्स हैं, डिज़ाइनर्स हैं और आर्टिस्ट हैं, उनके लिए कुछ कह दें. हम एक इस्लामी मुमलकत है पाकिस्तान. तुम्हारी बड़ी हिम्मत है कि इस्लामी मुमलकत में तुम आर्टिस्टों को, डिज़ाइनर्स को और आर्किटेक्ट्स को प्रमोट कर रही हो. बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं सारे नौजवान. मगर अब अगर हम लोग रियासत मदीना बन गए तो फिर इन सब का क्या होगा? सिर्फ मकबरे, मस्जिदें और महल आर्किटेक्ट्स को बनाना पड़ेंगे. जहाँ तक आर्ट का ताल्लुक़ है, सादखैन साहब नहीं रहे, शाकिर अली नहीं रहे, जुबैदा आगा नहीं रही, अहमद परवेज़ चले गए, जमील नक्श चले गए, शिमजा नहीं है. मगर हैरत की बात है कि हमारे यहाँ इन लोगों ने मरने के बाद बहुत ज़्यादा काम किया है. सादखैन साहब ने अपनी ज़िंदगी में जितनी तस्वीरें बनाई थी, मरने के बाद 10 गुना तस्वीरें उनकी लोग ख़रीद रहे हैं. और जो लोग बना रहे हैं मैं उनको जानता हूँ. मेरे एक दोस्त हैं लाहौर में, वो भी आर्टिस्ट हैं. मैं उनसे मिलने गया तो रो रहे थे. कह रहे थे, अनवर मेरी तस्वीरें कोई नहीं ख़रीदता, सब अहमद परवेज़ की तस्वीरें ख़रीद रहे हैं. तो मैंने उनसे कहा, अहमद परवेज़ बहुत ही बड़े पेंटर थे. तो फिर मेरे कंधे पे हाथ रख के कहने लगे, उनकी भी तो मैं ही बना रहा हूँ, तो वो बिक रही. तो अब आप अंदाज़ा लगा लें कि यहाँ गुलजी, सादखैन तो इतने बिक रहे हैं कि यूँ टेढ़ा ब्रश किया और अल्लाह लिखा और गुलजी लिख दिया नीचे. दुबई में, अमेरिका में, हर शहर में, डॉक्टरों के घर में ये तस्वीरें लगी हुई हैं, सादखैन की और गुलजी की. शाकिर साहब की भी नकल मैंने देखी, कोई 10-15 तस्वीरें हैं उनकी, और सब बिक रही हैं. अब बात करते हैं डिज़ाइन की. सबसे पहले तो मुल्क का डिज़ाइन सही होना चाहिए. तो जितने यंग डिज़ाइनर्स हैं, मेरी दरख्वास्त है उनसे, कोई ऐसा डिज़ाइन बनाएं जिससे मुल्क ठीक हो जाए. अगर मुल्क का डिज़ाइन ठीक हो गया तो फिर आप देखिएगा कि ये नौजवानों को कितना मौका मिलेगा काम करने का. हैरत की बात है कि सिंध के आर्टिस्ट, बलूचिस्तान के आर्टिस्ट, लाहौर के, पेशावर के, कराची के बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. मगर इन तमाम नौजवानों से मैं एक दरख्वास्त करना चाहता हूँ कि मेरी पहली नुमाइश 1958 में हुई थी. तस्वीरों की कीमत थी 200 रुपये, 250 रुपये. सादखैन साहब की 57 में हुई पहली नुमाइश. तस्वीरें थी 250 रुपये, 300 रुपये, सबसे महंगी तस्वीर 500 रुपये की थी. मगर ये बच्चे जब इंडस से और NCA से निकल के आते हैं और अपनी पहली नुमाइश करते हैं तो 3 लाख, 2.5 लाख, 4 लाख, 5 लाख. मुझे तस्वीरें अच्छी लगती हैं, मैं ख़रीदना भी चाहता हूँ, मगर मैं नहीं ख़रीद सकता क्योंकि बहुत कीमत है उनकी. तो ज़रा सा जिनको शौक़ है आर्ट का, उन पर रहम करें. मगर काम इतना अच्छा हो रहा है। जिन लोगों को अवार्ड मिला है मैं उन सबको मुबारकबाद देता हूँ, और जो काम कर रहे हैं अवार्ड से कुछ नहीं होता है, अवार्ड तो मिल जाता है, एक आदमी को मिलता है, मगर जो आप सब काम कर रहे हैं वो समझिए कि वो अवार्ड आप सबके लिए है। खुश रहिए और इसी तरह काम करते रहिए।
Congratulations to all the winners and thank you for joining us for the second ADA Awards in this virtual realm. We hope to see you soon, not in this virtual world, but in the real world, physical realm, where maybe you and I can share a story and a handshake or two. Once again, thank you for making this possible, and thank you for standing by us, and thank you for all the work that you've put in. Until we see you again, hopefully sooner rather than later, we wish you high spirits and we wish you and your loved ones good health.
Maria?
The trials.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Everybody is getting confused by the time difference.
She's connecting.
Hi, Shamini. How nice.
Hey. Wait, sorry.
That's fine.
It's too loud.
I have a flight to catch.
ओए देखिए ग्लैमर ही ग्लैमर है.
Oh, no.
Are we supposed to judge about the content?
I'm not part of the jury.
मैं और आप तो silent observers होंगे.
It's arts.
Just art. I always jumble on this word. Just art. I'm not able to get out of it. Just art.
Oh, not arts.
No, it's art.
We're still rolling. Again. Permission to even get a cup of tea.
मैं अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ना AC लिखवाऊंगा, AC, portable AC.
I was really hoping for the third project to come.
Yeah, I need to run. I have 25 animals to feed.
Lunchtime.
Action!
Julia's out.
I was going to say that.
Got my coffee with me.
I missed it.
It's cool.
Chai chahiye, Simon?
Maybe this is interesting.
Not what was planned.
Maria muted him.
Nobody's curious. And thank you so much for your invitation. Yay.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, jurors.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.